Enumeration is the process of extracting information from a target system to determine more of the configuration and environment present. In many cases, it is possible to extract information such as username, machine name, shares and service from a system as well as other information depending on the OS itself. So let's now talk about Windows enumeration. The Microsoft Windows operating system is designed to be used as either a standalone or network environment. However, for this lecture, you will assume that a network setup only. So in this Windows world, securing access to resources, objects and other components is handled through many mechanisms with such common thread as in here. So you need to know how to access to resources such as file share and other item is managed. For example, a user to get access to a file share or printer. So in any operating system, the item that is most responsible for controlling access to the system is the user. In Windows, the user account manages access as necessary. User accounts are used in Windows for everything from accessing file shares for running services that allow software component to execute with proper privilege and access. Another one is groups. Groups are used by operating systems such as Windows and Linux to control access to the resources as well as simplify the management. Groups are effective administrative tools that enable management of multiple users. A group can contain a large number of users that can then be managed as a unit. So let's now talk about the Linux basics. So the Linux and Windows operating system do have a good number of things in common, and one of them is need for user and groups. Since we will encounter Linux system, we need to look at them as well. So the first one is user. Much like Windows user, Linux user must have a user account to log in and gain access to a system. User account contain all the properties that will allow a user to access all the resources, files, folder on a computer. Much like Windows, the information associated with the user account can be stored either on the local host or on a network. The second one is services and ports of interest. As we dive deeper into the enumeration phase, let's make sure you understand some of the more details about ports. You should expect during a scanning phase to uncover a number of ports. Some of is useful to you for enumeration and other less so. So let's now talk about enumeration with SNMP. So these are the things that another mechanism for enumeration target system is Simple Network Management Protocol, which is SNMP. This protocol is used to assist the management of devices such as router, hubs, switches and among others. So SNMP comes in a 3 different version, which is SNMP version 1, version 2 and version 3. So first version is the protocol that introduced a standardized mechanism. The second version introduced the new management function, and the third version, which is the latest version of its protocol. So in the next lecture, we'll go into our practical phase and we'll use some of the scan like enumeration scan using couple of the tools. So let's now talk about threads introduced by footprinting. So let's take a closer look at the threads that can be used to gain information. So first one is social engineering. One of the easiest way to gain information about a target or to get information in general is to just ask for it. When asking doesn't work, you can just try to manipulate people with the goal of getting that gem of information that can give you a useful insight. Network and system attack. These are designs to gather information relating to an environment system configuring or configuration and also for operating system. Information leakage. This one is far too common nowadays. Organizations frequently have become victim of data and other companies' secret slipping out of the door into the wrong hands. Privacy loss, another one that is common. So these are all too common sadly, but this one is privacy loss. Remember that gaining access to a system isn't just about controlling an environment. It could also be a way of gather private and personal information within it. If you happen to be the target of such an attack, you may easily find yourself running afoul of law such as the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So that's for privacy loss, and the last one is revenue loss. Loss of information and security related to online business, banking and financial related issues can easily lead to lack of trust in business, which may even lead to closure of the business itself. Remember that aside from the financial loss in fines, penalties and lawsuits, customers are prone to take their business elsewhere if they don't feel safe. When talking about trends and footprinting that cause an organization, we need to mention personally identifying information. If you encounter any of the information during your penetration testing process, you should seriously consider reporting it to your client immediately, especially if you encounter it during a stage such as footprinting. So let's go to our main and the last topic, which is the footprinting process. There are many steps in the footprinting process, each of which will yield different types of information. Remember to log each piece of information that you gather, no matter how significant it may seem in the time. So first one is using search engine. One of the first step in the process of footprinting tend to be the using search engine. Search engines such as Google and Bing can easily provide a wealth of information that the client may wish to have kept hidden or may have just plain forgotten about. The same information may readily show up in a search engine page. Using a search engine, you can find a lot of information. Some of it's completely unexpected, or some of it's a defender that never considered, such as technology platform, employee details, login page, portals, and so on. A search can easily provide even more details such as name of the security personnel, brand and types of firewall, and also antivirus protection. And it is not unhard to find any network diagram and other information. Google hacking. Of course, the best known and the most dominant search engine today is Google. So let's start there. Google, like any other search engine, allows you to type in things that look for in the internet. While I won't go through how to basic searches in this lecture, it is safe to say that anyone who has used one knows that sometimes getting the current information can be tough. Typing in terms of search engine will get you thousands or millions of results, but are the results that you need? Google hacking is not anything new and has been around for a long time. It just isn't widely known by the public. The process involves using advanced operators to fine-tune your result to get what you want instead of being left at the victim of the search engine. With Google hacking, it is possible to obtain items such as password, certain file types, sensitive folders, logon portals, configuration data, and also other data. So these are all for Google hacking. So next one is public and restricted website. Websites that are intended not to be public but to be restricted to a few provide can give you valuable information, because restricted websites are not intended for public consumption. They are kept in a subdomain that is either not public or that has a login page. Location and geography. Not to be overlooked or underestimated in the value of getting any information on physical location of offices and personnel. You should seek this information during the footprinting process because it can yield very key details that you may find useful in later stages, including physical penetration. In addition, knowing a company's physical location can aid in dumpster driving, social engineering, and other efforts. To help you obtain physical location data, a range of useful or powerful tool is available. Thanks to the number of sources that gather information such as satellite and webcams, there is a potential that you can do as an attacker to gain substantial location data, and never underestimate the sheer number of sources available like Google Earth, Google Maps, webcams, people search, etc. And at the end one is social networking and information gathering. One of the best source for information is social networking. Social networking has proven not only extremely prolific but also incredibly useful as an information gathering tool. A large number of people who use this service provide updates on a daily basis. You can learn not only what each individual is doing but also all the relationship both from personal and also from professional. So for example, an armed with the personal data learned on social networking site, an attacker can use this social engineering to build a sense of trust. So, some people on social networking services that are worth scoring for information about your target may be the one that are you're most familiar with, like Facebook, Twitter, Google, LinkedIn, Instagram, and also nowadays Snapchat and etc. So, these are the footprinting process of all of those types. So as you saw, this is the all of the things that you need to know in this footprinting lecture. Once you have gathered another information, you can try to refine the result to get the information that you truly want using techniques that I described in this lecture.